Hello, and welcome back to a brand new segment of film reviews. Today, I will be reviewing the newly released in theaters and on HBO Max, Wonder Woman 1984. But I will also be looking at it in comparison to its predecessor, the very first Wonder Woman film that was released back in 2017. Now, both of these movies are available to watch on HBO Max if you want to go take a look, check it out, and let me know in the comments below if you agree, disagree, or want to expand upon my thoughts. Full disclosure, I watched these movies a bit out of order, watching 1984 before I even saw the first one. And to be completely honest, not impressed. Rotten Tomatoes wasn't either, scoring it a merely 61% critic score, which in my opinion was fairly generous. But before I get into 1984, I want to focus on the first Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot that received a 93% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, that's a pretty big scoring difference. The things that Wonder Woman did right that earned it that 93% rating were the overall storyline and action sequences. She follows a linear structure with a clear objective and hero's journey, and it's easy to follow and it's easy to suspend your disbelief. At the beginning of the film, we see her training and have a nice exposition to her childhood, witnessing her strength and ultimately her powers. We see her character and nature when saving Chris Pine's character from the waters where he would have died in battle. Something that is never fair, as quoted in the very beginning of the movie by her mother, Hippolyta. Within the entire rising action of the film, we see the full-fledged evolution of Diana from a relatively sheltered badass demigod to a knowledgeable superhero who doesn't allow mankind or their beliefs to define her character and persona. There is a clear climax of the film where she has to defeat Ares, the god of war, ultimately proving her strength and her first relatability to mankind by experiencing loss in the midst of having to do what is right. It is overall a well-written story filled with action, some comedic moments, and even lessons of choosing love even if it's not something that people deserve. Now, here come my personal issues with 1984, specifically when looking at how Diana behaved and involved with the first film. My first question, involving her evolution, would be, why would someone who helped save lives and cared about others more than herself suddenly be a cheesed down version of a mall cop when there is photographic evidence of her helping save people during the Great War? Did I miss something with that? Was that photo not supposed to be seen by anybody else? Or I don't understand that, because she's wiping out all of these security cameras at a mall trying to save a robbery. She went from stopping a war to stopping a robbery. And the correlation was a bit hard to understand in the beginning. There was so much audience pandering during this movie where it felt like the entire character had just been watered down, so much so it was to a fault. The only really interesting scene during the entire 1984 movie, in my opinion, was the opening exposition, which, to be completely honest, didn't really fit with the tone of the rest of the film. There was no clear objective or enemy, and it was honestly zero reason to include a dead boyfriend other than to appease audience members who were sad that he sacrificed his life in the first movie, which cheeses down his character as well. To me, it just lessened the impact of his original sacrifice. I would love to know where the soul of the man whose body he inhabited went when it was being taken over by a World War I hero who was directed to act totally dumb throughout the entire movie when he was a very knowledgeable man in the first one. He didn't seem super stunned in the first movie to stumble upon a group of Amazon women and learn about the true existence of the gods, but he behaved like a 7-year-old when seeing escalators and fireworks, some things that would have existed in London during the time he was alive. Don't even get me started on the cinematic pandering. Flying into fireworks was cheesy, to say the least, and seemed like it was done to create a nice shot for the trailers. Pandering toward 80s nostalgia, fight against a greedy capitalist, putting up walls, the lack of action sequences, and over-the-top acting made this movie feel like it was done with the intention of filling a quota, not with character and story's best interest in mind. It did not answer any of the questions I had left after seeing the first movie, and it felt like a rough draft, and they ran out of money and rewrites. So because of this, I did look up the budget for each film, the first Wonder Woman receiving an estimated total budget of $150 million according to IMDb. 1984 with $200 million, and boy oh boy did they use that money poorly. Again, this is just my personal opinion. You can feel free to disagree, but for the budget they had and the results that were received, I was beyond disappointed. There were so many plot holes, political pandering, and messages that did not adequately and efficiently drive the plot forward or make it interesting to watch. I would have preferred to see her help with the Cold War and have more characters with brains. Diana seemed to be the only one there who could think, the rest just going along with whatever she deemed best. To say Gal Gadot carried the film would definitely be an understatement, and I didn't really believe Maxwell's character until the very end, with most of his scenes being over the top and almost cartoon-like. Now that all seemed really negative, but it should not overshadow the fact that there is potential for the future, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts and comments and opinions below. Did you enjoy the movie? Did you think it's worth the watch? Is it worth even the HBO Max subscription? Are you a DC fan? Is this something you're into? Let me know, and let me know what else you want me to review for next time. See you!